It's the official kickoff to season 2 of the Caregiver Connection training series. Now, last season was all about the main parts of all learning opportunities, those ABCs. And in the last few episodes, we started to break down different types of communication skills, and we applied those ABCs to address basic self-advocacy skills. But before we dive any further, it is going to be critical that your child or adolescent has strong cooperation skills, because developing any skill hinges upon cooperation. Communication skills, they may open the door, but cooperation skills are what's going to keep it open. So for today's episode, we are going to talk about establishing your child's cooperation when it comes to giving up a preferred item, pausing a fun activity, or turn taking. So let's start by looking at that 3-part breakdown of the skill that we're going to be looking at today. What we want the learner to be able to do is respond to a direction that they need to stop the activity, put something away, or hand something over. So, for example, when I give them the direction, give, they're immediately going to place the item in my hand. That's what I'm looking for them to do. And their cooperation results in something good happening for them. Now, that last part is really the make or break of this skill. Part C is going to determine whether they do it more or less often in the future. That's the only way we're going to establish cooperation skills, is if something good happens as a result of cooperating. Now, to stress just how important Part C is, I'm going to give you the same direction in Part A. I say give, and the same response from the learner. So they immediately hand it to me. But what usually actually happens is they've handed it to me and that fun thing goes away. We usually take things away right before we ask our child to do something. So I say give, they give me their iPad, and I say, go brush your teeth. Okay, so in that scenario, did things actually get better for the learner here? No, right? They had to stop their favorite thing, and they also had to do something that they probably didn't like to do, go brush their teeth. So if this is always what happens, especially as your child is still learning this skill, they might actually be learning to attend to some early signals that something fun is about to go away. Before you even say the direction, they see you coming and they know, oh, mom's coming. She's going to take away this iPad. She's going to make me do something else. Or they just learn to respond to the direction by doing anything but cooperate. That can be anything problematic is going to interfere with their learning. So we're going to call that challenging behavior. If your child is presenting challenging behavior, it's because it somehow makes their life better. It works for them. That's why we all present challenging behavior. So in this scenario, it's most likely making their life better by somehow delaying that item going away, even if it's just for a few seconds. But we might actually say, okay, 5 more minutes, then it's time to give up the iPad and brush your teeth. Or they might ultimately avoid having to give it up. And this doesn't have to happen every single time. If this happens now and again, then they're going to keep doing the challenging behavior. Even if we are diligent about removing the item when challenging behavior occurs, remember that this is also what happens when they cooperate. So the item's still going to go away. So they're not necessarily going to associate the challenging behavior with losing the item if they also lose it when they cooperate. Now, another common scenario that happens is that when challenging behavior occurs, we shift our focus onto the problem behavior but we're not really addressing the real root of the problem by doing this. So you say give, and your child hits you. And then you respond by saying, like, no hitting, that hurts. How would you like if someone hit you? Say you're sorry. And we do all this because we think it's teaching them not to do it. But in reality, lecturing might actually be interfering with the learning. We told them what not to do, but we didn't teach them what to do. I know you're probably thinking, like, how are they going to know not to do it? Right? So I'm going to go further into this a little later, but the short answer here right now is we're going to use that as an opportunity to teach them what to do instead. We're not going to make the challenging behavior work, but we are going to make something else work. You could also argue that they know better. They should know what to do. And, in some cases, this might be true. Maybe they can tell you the right thing to do, but they really may not have just learned the value in cooperating under various circumstances. We can teach them that it's in their favor to cooperate. Things get better for them in the immediate, and ultimately it's going to improve their life in the long run too. So I have this saying, you can't reduce unless you replace. The only way to reduce challenging behavior is to replace it with a different response. So that means we're going to need to capture and create sufficient opportunities to teach them to respond cooperatively. Okay, so why is this skill actually important? They're going to be more ready to learn. Their attention is going to be available for learning. Their hands are going to be free to perform tasks. It is also going to build flexibility and prepare them for learning other cooperation skills, which we're going to talk about in the next couple episodes, such as adjusting to changes and transitions, waiting for what you want, and accepting alternatives when you can't have something. It's also going to strengthen following directions, which is ultimately going to allow them to learn to follow rules. These things are all critical for independence. Teaching them to give up something will make it easier for them to learn skills. Also, learning to cooperate is an important skill for social development. Sharing and turn-taking, these are foundations of play and also conversations, that back and forth. And when presented in a situation where a person has deficient cooperation skills, they may compensate by presenting challenging behavior. So teaching cooperation skills reduces challenging behavior. Before you teach any skill, it's best if you can do some sort of assessment to figure out exactly where your child's going to need help in learning, but also what they can do easily. And we'll get to the reason in just a little bit, but let's start out by taking a look at some common situations where your child will be using this cooperation skill. How does your child respond when they are put in these or similar situations where they have to give up, pause, share something they like? Sometimes children learn to do something, but they can only do it under specific conditions. So, for example, they can give up anything unless it's their iPad. Or they might have difficulty when something goes away for a long time. It's much harder to give up something when you know you'll never see it again, or it's going to be a long time until you do. And your child also might demonstrate cooperation skills differently in different environments. So it's going to be important to practice in different locations. Just start with different locations in your house and practice with different items and activities. Okay, so you can take all of this information that you assessed just now, and what we're going to do is separate that, what's going to be easy for your child to do and what's going to be hard. What are the items that they're going to easily give up? It won't be any effort for them to give up. It won't be any effort for me to get them to give it up. How long can they wait before they get it back? And what settings and situations are easy versus which ones are hard? Now, you actually want to start where it's easy. This is what's going to be easiest for you and easiest for your child. Start with the less preferred items. Have them practice giving it up briefly, and then it comes right back to them. And also practice before they actually need to do it. Contriving situations, it does take a little bit more effort, but it's going to make those naturally occurring situations easier because they'll have had lots of successful practice. Now look at that easy column for your child. Most of the practice should be easy, so they're successful. This is going to allow you to gain momentum, and interspersing lots of easies and gradually increasing the difficulty is going to keep it from becoming too challenging for your child and too challenging for you. So I have included some examples here of a possible starting point. The first one here, if you can predict that your child is going to do it anyway, so you see them bringing an item to you, they're extending their arm and trying to hand it to you, then just start with the direction here. Yes, they were going to do it anyway, but it starts to correlate that direction with the action. So I have my daughter here. She's has a pack of fruit snacks and she needs help opening them. So I predicted she was going to hand them to me. And so I stuck out my hand and I said, give. And then when she cooperated with the direction, things got immediately better for her. I opened the fruit snacks and I handed them right back to her. All right, I'm going to play this so you can see. There you go. It's giving. Here, I opened them. Here, it's your fruit snacks. All right, the direction did get cut off in the beginning. I said give. Another easy starting point is practicing when you see your child lose interest in one thing and the motivation kind of shifts to something else.
I want to watch the videos on my old iPad.
Sure, we can watch that videos on your iPad. Give.
Yeah, you can do it on my old one.
That's right, you give. We can watch the videos on your iPad. Here.
I know.
Here, you can have the ball right back. I love how you gave it right away. All right, so he wanted to watch videos on his iPad. No longer was he interested in that ball, and the iPad is much more valuable to him in the first place than that ball ever was. So that was really a natural opportunity where there was a high probability he was going to cooperate. So another possible example of an easy place to start is interspersing, just simply tolerating a brief pause in a somewhat fun activity. Remember, don't start with the hardest thing. And you're not going to require necessarily following a direction to independently give up something that they really like. You're just going to hold on to it. You're going to briefly pause and something good happens and it comes right back. All right, so go ahead and watch this one. What should we pick? The teapot. Oh.
Remember I played this one a long time ago?
I know, we did. The teacup ride. Let's see how we play it.
Number one.
That's the green one.
Number please.
And push it like this. Whoop.
Touch the wheel to make the cups spin.
Spin, 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 spin. Spin. Stop. Whoops.
Touch the green button. Touch the wheel to make the cups
spin. Spin, 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 spin.
See?
Yeah. Here you go. Here's some yoo-hoo.
Yeah.
And you can have your game right back. There you go. Spin, 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 spin.
Yeah. Teaching how.
All right. So notice that there was no warning there that the fun thing was going to go away. But it was okay. Something else that he liked was presented in its place, and that fun thing came right back. It didn't go away forever, and he didn't really have to put forth much effort to make it come back. All right, so another easy point to start. It might be easy to start with giving up things that they don't care at all about. So you might just gather a bunch of different things from your house and set up opportunities for them to practice hearing the direction, demonstrating following that direction across different things. Okay, give me your cup. Good giving. Yeah, good giving. Here's your apple juice. Okay, so there was a little bit of she knew that something good was going to happen, but the empty cup, she didn't care at all about that. So it was easy to get it. All right, so let's go back now to the basic building blocks of teaching, because when it starts to get hard and we're teaching something that they can't yet do, so let's look at each of those videos. The learner had cooperated by either following a direction or simply accepting the fact that it went away, and something good usually followed. So giving the bag of fruit snacks, they got the bag of fruit snacks. Giving the ball, getting the iPad and the ball. Pausing the video, getting a drink, and resuming the video. Giving the cup, getting the juice. I also added some praise, specifically telling them what they did well. So I gave them some attention, some acknowledgement. Now, in general, the more closely the good thing happens after the cooperative behavior, the more likely that they're going to associate one thing with another. You want to try to deliver the good thing immediately following their cooperation to kind of link those two together. They're going to learn to cooperate very quickly if something good happens every single time. But once they learn it, you can adjust how often that reward comes. All right, so let's get set up for success. It's helpful to identify lots of options for what would be rewarding for your child. Remember, these don't have to be things. They can go across categories, but it's not going to work unless these are things that your child can't get on their own. If they can get it on their own, they're not going to do anything to get it. So you may want to set some of these things aside just so that they can't freely access it. And you're also going to have it readily available to deliver quickly, because remember that immediate delivery is important. So they're going to associate the cooperation with getting access to their favorite things. Since the learner can't yet respond to that direction, we're also going to need to apply some temporary additional strategies. So here are the 3 strategies that I'm going to show you today. Those are going to be promise, plain and predictable, and prompt. All right, one of the most powerful strategies is this first one we're going to talk about, and it's something called promise reinforcement. We talked a lot about this in episode 4, and here is a skill where it's really going to be helpful if you use promise reinforcement. But the key here is that using it effectively, you have to, or the 2 keys are value and timing. So let's look at value. You're going to take all the things you've identified your child likes, and you're going to select something that you have available to deliver immediately, and it's also going to be highly valuable in the moment. But here's where timing comes into play. Because for this to work, you have to know that they want it in the moment, and they've got to want it more than what you're expecting them to give up. All right, so you got to make this determination before you present the direction, because once you present the direction, it's too late to present the promise. They're going to learn not to cooperate if you do it the other way. So if my child likes bananas and I'm thinking about teaching her to use bananas to teach her to cooperate with giving something else she likes, I want to make sure she actually wants a banana right now. So I can do this a couple different ways. I can give her a small piece of a banana and see if she takes it, or see if she somehow responds to the presentation of the banana. So maybe she reaches toward it, moves closer, looks at it, smiles, asks for it. These can all be indications that she wants it. So I'm going to play a demonstration video to show you what that looks like.
Sack, 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 sack. Crush! Oh, look at it. Yeah, I love how nicely you're sitting watching your phone. Here, have a banana chip. No? All right, you don't have to have it.
All right, so pretend that was not a doll and that was just for demonstration purposes, obviously, but I know she likes bananas. Did she want a banana at that moment? No, she didn't take it. So I know she doesn't want it. I'm not going to be able to use a banana to teach her to give up, definitely not her phone if she really likes that, but if she's not willing to take it for free, she's definitely not going to do something for it. So before you can go any further, you need to figure out something that's going to be motivating and worth giving up the phone. Just an aside here, I did want to point out that before I even offered something, I just kind of inserted myself in a fun activity. I tried to make myself fun. And I also pointed out something that she was doing that I wanted to see her doing, like sitting on the beanbag chair as opposed to climbing on the counter, right? So I said, I like how you're sitting. And then I offered the reward. So one, I am pairing, the sitting with something good, but it's also not going to come across as suspicious. Like, why is mom like bringing me these banana chips? I know what she's going to do. She's going to ask me to give this up. So it comes across as more natural if you can make sure that you're interacting with your child and presenting something as a response to what they're doing. All right, so the banana was not valuable. So let's try something else. Before I present the direction, I'm going to try something else. Now, once I have something that the learner wants in the moment, I'm going to be able to use this strategy most effectively. And here's how that promise reinforcer is going to work. It basically lets them know ahead of time what the reward will be for a specific response. Think about it like your paycheck. You agreed to do a job because you knew ahead of time what your wage or your salary would be. And you probably would not have accepted the job if you weren't offered enough compared to the work that was required. So the key to using the strategy successfully, again, is the reward has to match the effort. I can't stress that enough. So you're going to show the promise reinforcer or the reward that they're going to get. Then you're going to say the direction. When they cooperate, you're immediately going to give them the promise. So if they follow the direction the first time, they get the reward. And it's important to establish this from the beginning. Like I said earlier, if it takes a lot of effort in convincing them, then they're not cooperating. So again, here's a really old video that I found of me actually practicing this skill with my son. So what I want you to watch for is the show, say, give. Those are going to be the steps to using a promise. Show, say, give.
Does it?
Yeah, mine's look different. I think I have a phone.
Your turn.
On it. I have a phone stand on my iPad. The phone stand instead of a bin.
Touch the red button.
The red one.
I can find
Yes.
a bin.
Good giving. Here's your yoo-hoo. You can have the phone right back. Good giving.
Okay, so I showed his favorite drink. I said give. He gave, so I gave him the drink, and he got the phone right back. Okay, so this was the hard skill that I was really practicing, giving up the TV remote. This was something he had a hard time at the time cooperating with, giving it up. It was really valuable to have the remote because he liked to rewind and fast forward to his favorite parts of the show. And he learned, this was the challenging behavior. He learned to hide the remote to avoid having to give it up and go to bed. Now, the challenging behavior got worse because what we did was not really effective. My husband decided he's going to disable the TV, and this didn't actually teach my son to cooperate. It just actually led to him becoming really upset, and we had to calm him down and go to bed. So we decided to practice a lot with some old remotes that didn't even work on that TV. And then we practiced at times when he wasn't watching TV because the remote wasn't as valuable. Okay, so I'm going to play a video here to show you what that looked like.
Yes. Good giving. You can have some yoo-hoo.
Yeah, give my drink back.
And you can have the remote back. Let's turn on the TV.
So even though I didn't think the remote was super valuable at the time, I didn't want to take the chance, so I still used a promise. I gave him his favorite drink. And this helped to build some motivation to respond cooperatively. So when he followed that direction to give the remote, I gave him a sip of the drink, and I turned on the TV. So he learned that cooperating with the direction of give made his life a lot better. He got his favorite drink. He got to watch TV. Now, I do want to point out, if you saw in the video, my son actually didn't even notice the drink that I was presenting, so it didn't really influence his responding. So luckily, he still cooperated, but what I should have done was really made sure that he noticed the drink and that he wanted the drink before I presented the direction. That could have gone very badly if I didn't. Okay, so consumables really do make for the best promise reinforcers for teaching this skill specifically, because the things that my child likes might be things that are really hard to give up. So I don't have to get consumables back. They kind of go away on their own. A lot of the examples here, you see food, because that tends to be reliably valuable, and they don't have to learn to like food. But that is not the only option out there. So I don't want you to think that it's just food. The main thing is that it has to be worth the effort. And consumables, again, can be anything social, great consumables, things like bubbles that pop and go away. Those are helpful. Or if you can hold on to the item, that's going to be helpful too.
Oh.
All right. Hello, Mark. Trade.
Hello.
Good trading. You can have the ball right back and do it again.
Hello.
Ball.
Another possible example of a promise is pausing a fun routine if continuing the routine is valuable.
Duck, 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 goose. Duck, 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 goose. Duck, 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 goose. Good giving. Goose. Here, you can have it right back.
So I know that it's a doll, and I actually just took it away. But what I'm looking for is not me to say give and rip the item away from my learner, but them to hand it to me. So I may have to help them, but I don't want to just say give and take it away. Now, eventually, you can fade out the use of the promise. You're not going to have to rely on this promise forever, but rely on it for as long as you need to. Don't try to get rid of it too quickly. I think sometimes we think, oh, I better get rid of this so that they don't learn to rely on it. Um, you can get rid of it, and the best way and the best time to get rid of it is to remove your promise when your child is consistently cooperating and they're showing you that their cooperation is strong in the moment. Because once they start to cooperate, there's a higher probability that they're just going to continue to cooperate. So I'm going to play two videos kind of back to back here so that you can see how I systematically got rid of the promise. Oh, that would be really cool to look at. Oh, look, you look like a bug. Ah, that's so silly. You look like a bug.
Lean back. I look like a bug.
Here, pause it. That's how you pause it. Look, there's a kaleidoscope.
I can
What
see
do
that.
Yeah, we look like we have 1,000 heads, don't we?
Yeah. We should free
Yeah.
3,000 pictures.
I know. Oh, here's a parade. Here, trade. That's how you trade.
Wait,
Oh,
I
you can have it right back.
Ooh, what's... Whoa. Bud, I got something to show you.
All right, pause it. That's how you pause it.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and play. Yeah. Notice that when he cooperated without me showing the promise to him first in that second video, the reward was better. So he got right away, he likes when I kind of tickle his head, and he got the video back really fast so that he learns to cooperate even when he's not shown something valuable beforehand. All right, so we talked a lot about this skill of using a promise. I've shown you what it looks like, but the best way to learn it is to actually do it. So we're going to say these steps, and I'm going to encourage you to then pause and practice those steps on your own or with a partner or maybe even your child. Okay, I'm going to go through here and timestamp this video so that you can practice and take as long as you need to practice. And then if you need to come back another time, you can do that and easily find where you're going to start. So let's go ahead and rehearse the steps of using a promise. The steps are show, say, give. All right, say those with me. Show, say, give. On your own, what are the steps for using a promise? Show, say, give. That's right. Now close your eyes. What are those steps again? All right, if you said show, say, give, then you've got it down. Now is a really good time to pause and practice those steps of using a promise. Show, say, give. Okay, so the next temporary strategy that we're going to talk about is keeping the direction plain and predictable. Again, this can be used in combination with your other strategies. But we're going to teach, not just going to take. Unless safety is a concern, then we want to teach them to willingly hand it over instead of just ripping it out of their hands. Ripping it away from the learner can make them just cling harder. And the other reason is that I may be modeling something that really isn't socially acceptable. I don't want my child to learn that when they want something, they just walk up to somebody and rip it out of their hands. So when presenting a direction, I want to get in the habit of using a fun and friendly tone of voice. A demanding tone of voice is really likely to be perceived as a threat. So if I say, give, or something like that, then that might signal to your child like, ooh, I'm about to lose this. I might even be in trouble. Versus, here, give. That tone of voice, there's much more of a signal that something fun is going to happen. Now, it's going to depend on your learner, but in general, you want to, when you first start teaching this, it's important to make sure that direction is simple and as clear as possible. So, for example, I'm just going to start with a simple give, and that's the only thing that's in their hands. And I don't even need to name that item because the more words that I say, it's just going to make it harder to attend to that important word. I want them to learn to attend to the word give so that they give. Another consideration would be if you're presenting a promise, which is the best thing to do early on, that then trade is a good option here because you can pick a direction that it comes across really as friendly to the learner, and they may be more willing to do it. However, with any of these, remember it's got to be presented as a direction, not as an option. So if I pose it as a question, here, do you want to trade? And they say no, or they don't, I actually have to respect their choice. So it needs to be something that is similar and it's slightly, maybe even more valuable because none of us would make an unfair trade. Here, trade. That's how you trade. Here, you can have one in each hand. That's good trading. Awesome. Here, put them in. Whoop, you can have them right back. Good job putting in. All right, so once they get that concept down, you can vary the language and teach it across different variations of that direction. So put it in, put away, my turn. But if your direction that you're using is becoming a trigger, it might be warning them that they're about to lose something, then you may just want to temporarily change that direction. So for some learners, putting something in a container may be easier than giving it to a person to start out with because they haven't really established that trust that that person is going to give it back.
Oh, mine's.
Pop, you try it.
Yeah, I got another box.
Pop, 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 pop. Oh, check this one out. Here he comes. Pop.
Oh, I got that with my iPad up there.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And even my headphones.
Oh,
yeah.
it doesn't work too well. Here, put that in there.
Don't worry, I'll get it.
Put it in.
I can glue it. I can tape it or
Here.
glue it.
Put this in there.
It must have been popped.
That's how you put it.
I can put some glue on. For some time.
Put them in.
Yep.
By putting in. Here, put that on.
Guess what? Fall's gonna be yours to get, but you already got one.
Good. Putting
So these are the
Tick,
gift
tick, tick,
was
tick, tick, tick.
but mine
And ready? Open. You can have the maracas right back. Here you go. And you can have a squeeze. I love how you're following directions. Shake, 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 shake. Here, hold them out here. Keep them out of your mouth. Good.
Let's roll.
I'm going to change the channel. Whoop. Pause. Play. Check out these spinners we have.
Yeah, I found this one in Porsche a couple years ago. It was stuck in there, so I found it hidden thing, and we tried to open.
Look at this one. This one really lights up. Here, trade. There you go. Whoa. So just as a quick note, I don't know why my son put those in his mouth. He doesn't usually do that. But I didn't overreact to that. And I didn't take them away. I simply just guided them away from his mouth. So he stopped doing that. And then I showed him what to do instead. Okay, so remember, if you are using a promise, You want to show it and make sure it's worth what you're asking them to do. And you want to do that before you give the direction. Timing is everything. You're going to show, then say. Now, something else to get in the habit of doing is every time you're rewarding their behavior, tell them what you're rewarding. That's how you give. Nice trading. Good putting in. And then give the item right back to them in the very beginning and add another reward and tell them exactly, why they're getting it so that they know what to repeat in the future. One thing about praise is that it might not be valuable enough by itself right now. So don't rely simply on praise, but eventually someone acknowledging what you're doing right, it feels good. And it might become rewarding enough on its own. And then doing the right thing, even when you're not acknowledged, still feels good. So just get in the habit of giving specific praise. When you catch your child doing something you want them to be doing, take a moment to acknowledge it. All right, so let's practice saying a plain and predictable direction. Start by picking a direction that you're going to use. Say that direction clearly in a friendly tone and give specific praise. Deliver something rewarding. Tell them what you're giving them. Remember, you can still add the other step of using the promise, but as far as plain and predictable direction, those steps are say and give. Say the direction. When the learner cooperates, you're going to give specific praise and maybe another reward. Say and give. What are the steps for plain and predictable direction? Say and give. Great. Okay, so pause and rehearse those steps and practice. All right, so the final temporary strategy that we are going to use when your child is learning a new skill is using a prompt. A prompt is a layer of assistance to help your child respond correctly. That's how they're going to learn to do it, by practicing the right thing. So I'm going to use some gentle guidance as my prompt. So you can see prompts, we're going to use them in combination with other strategies. I'm going to encourage you to still use a promise for anything that's hard at this point. So the sequence might look like this. You've given the direction, you've applied the prompt to help them respond. For some learners, you might need to give a small reward here, but for others, you can go directly back to step A. You're going to go back to step A, give them another chance to practice, and they're either going to do it this time with no help or with less help. So you've said the direction, and this time you're going to get them to follow that direction without help. A prompt is the last strategy you're going to add, and it's the first one you're going to get rid of because you want to encourage their independence and prevent them from relying on that prompt. And you want to reserve the best reward for the times that your child does something with the most amount of independence. So you're rewarding their effort. All right, so I'm going to show you a video here, but again, heads up, the direction I said was cut off. So I said give.
But that's for pause remote.
Give.
Yeah, I know.
That's how you give. Shake, 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 shake. Zip. Woo! Boom.
So I presented the direction, give, and then I prompted. I guided that remote into my hands. And I did that specifically because I want to make sure they're attending to what I'm saying, helping them do the behavior. Then I'm going to restate that direction and attempt to get rid of the prompt. And I rewarded the best effort when he did give. If you want to learn more about different types of prompts and how to use them, be sure to check out episode 5. Okay, so let's rehearse those steps of using a prompt. Remember, you can add another strategy, which is showing the promise, but here are the steps for using a prompt. You're going to say the direction. Then you're going to prompt with physical guidance. The learner's going to cooperate with help. Then you're going to say the direction again. The learner's going to cooperate without help or less help. And then you're going to give specific praise and reward. Okay, so let's say this again. Say, prompt, say, give. The steps to using a prompt are say, prompt, say, give. What are the steps to using a prompt on your own? Good. Say, prompt, say, give. When you've got that down strong, go ahead and pause and practice. Okay, so we have now practiced some strategies which should hopefully lead to your child doing the correct response. But inevitably, mistakes are going to happen. So here's how you can respond. If they didn't give it to you within 5 seconds, or they do the wrong thing with it, so you said give and they threw it at you, or any other form of challenging behavior, the first thing you're going to do is remove the presence of the promise. Don't talk about it going away. That's just going to make things worse. Just remove it and go back to step A. So step A, this is your teachable moment. You're going to teach them what to do instead of what they just did. So you're going to restate the direction in a calm and neutral tone. Yelling is only going to make it worse. So give. And right after you give the direction, you're going to provide some gentle guidance to help them respond correctly to the direction. Okay, so ideally, you want to try to go back to step A and give them another chance to practice. Because the best time to give them another chance to practice is without your help or with less help. And when they do it, you can give them a small reward. Now, ideally, this should be different and much less valuable than the promise that you may have offered. But this is how they're going to learn not to do the challenging behavior. You showed them that the challenging behavior didn't work. They still had to give it up. But you also showed them what did work. You showed them how to give, and when they did, something good happened. So here's a demonstration of how I can respond when a mistake occurs, which is, again, anything other than what you're asking them to do. All right, so just a heads up, I actually made a mistake in this video. So let's see if you can identify what I did wrong. But other than that, it does show you what it looks like to correct the error.
Turn it on. Yeah, it did. Yeah, I know.
Give.
It's a big deal.
Give. Good. Give. That's how you give. Boom, 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 boom. Ah, gotcha. Pop, 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 pop.
So you can see he didn't do the right response. I don't know if it was by accident or not, but I wanted to ensure that he got the right response. So I just restated my direction. I helped him be more successful. And then here's the mistake I made. If you didn't notice, I gave him a pretty big reward. I should have been a little less enthusiastic, a little less fun. And I should have saved that really big reaction that I did because he really enjoyed it. I should have actually saved that for the times that he was most successful. But again, don't beat yourself up if you make mistakes. Your child is going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay. You're both learning. So let's rehearse the steps for when your learner makes any kind of mistake. So you're going to remove the promise, say the direction, prompt the correct response, say the direction, and give a little reward. So it's remove, say, prompt, say, give a little. Say this again. Remove, say, prompt, say, give a little. Right? On your own, when the learner makes a mistake, you great. Remove, say, prompt, say, give a little. So keep saying those steps until you've got them down, and then go ahead and practice. Okay, so I really want to emphasize that a lot of these videos were just capturing that one skill, but I did want to provide some context here, because if you just sit down and you practice giving and there's nothing else that really occurs, one, your child's just going to associate you with, all right, mom's coming, she's going to make me practice giving up a bunch of stuff, but it also might not actually transfer to the times that you need it. So I want to really emphasize to intersperse these practice opportunities with other things to keep that practice fun and natural. So here's an example of what that can look like.
I remember that. Remember you used to sit on there when you were a baby?
Yeah.
And I remember that train.
Yeah.
And that board, all those little things that we got rid of because now you're so big.
Oh, and that school bus?
Yeah, we got rid of that too, didn't we?
Yeah.
We don't need it anymore. We gave it away.
You got me a new school bus.
Yeah.
The one that is from the garage that I got as a prize.
Yeah, I know. Do you remember how you earned that prize?
Yes. I'm being a good job for him.
Did a good job reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that ladder. Yeah, that ladder's down here. Look, it's in that water pipe room. That there's like a lot of pipes. Yeah, and that is the furnace as well. That's a furnace as well. Yeah, that's an old furnace. It's a storage room as well.
Here, give.
Yeah, the furnace.
That's good. Getting ready. I'm gonna color on you.
Don't! Shut!
I know. I'm just pretending.
I know. Guess what? Look at those parts.
What were those?
Those were stepping parts.
You've set up the stepping stones on the floor.
Yeah, I stepped on them.
Like the floor is lava.
I know.
Whoa. Hey, let's go play the floor is lava. Here, put that in for a second. That's good. Let's go play the floor is lava.
But the iPad don't fit in there. My old iPad fits in a
thing. The floor is lava.
But the iPad
You win.
those
All right, come on,
things.
right back.
Yeah, and I can watch.
Whoop, boom.
In the bathtub, I should use
Yeah.
it to look underneath water so I don't get ice and water.
That was fun playing the floor is lava. Here's your iPad back.
All right, so if there is something, just some important final points, if it is something that is hard for your child to give it up, taking it away and making it off limits will probably backfire. It's just going to make it more valuable. And if you've ever been on like a restrictive diet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I tried to cut out sugar one time, and it just actually made me crave sweets even more. If your child really likes something, they're just going to try to learn to do all sorts of things to try to get it. And when they do finally get it, it's going to be even harder to give it back than it was before. And they're not going to have had opportunities to practice giving it back. So it's not going to be any easier. You may need to let your child maintain access to something for the time being, but you can still make progress. Just try to work in some fun interactions. Try to build their interest in other things. Even just a temporary pause where they're shifting their attention to something else is a step in the right direction. Remember, practice makes progress. By practicing giving up, you are teaching your child that giving doesn't mean losing. It means that there's an opportunity for something better. All right, so that's it for today's episode. if you found it helpful. I'd appreciate if you hit that like button. Don't forget to visit that resource collection for more on this and other topics. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss that next episode, which is going to expand on this topic. We're going to be talking about how you teach your child to make smooth transitions